Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel and a brand new series that we're going to be starting here on Ride 5 using the race creator tools, where you can basically have all the freedom in the world to create a world championship. You can design the liveries, the helmet, the team, the name, the nationality, everything you can think of, apart from the tracks obviously, but you can design everything, and that is what we've done here. We've got a full grid which you can see here on the right, but make sure to go down in the description and subscribe or follow the TikTok, because that's where you will see little different videos posted about this series with like little storyline stuff, just to create like a little universe within this game for this particular series. But you will see those videos on the social media more than the YouTube itself. But here we go then. That was a quick little glimpse at the grid. Make sure to get a look at all the bikes and leave it down in the comments which one is your favorite design, because this was a lot of effort to design the whole grid. But lights out and away we go for the first round of the season here in Sonoma under the floodlights. Kawasaki on pole position, forces out Zenny off the track as they come darting across turn 2 as we climb up the hill here. We've made a little bit of contact with Ryan. Our teammate goes up the inside of the Kawasaki, who's lost that pole position and dropped down to what looks like third place as we continue to climb up the hill here. The Ducati in fact has got by the Yamaha there of Ryan, so Storty's a man on a mission here. He had a little bit of a bad quali, but he's made up for it there in the first opening corners, getting by ourselves obviously and also Ryan, and it looks like he's going to be getting by that Kawasaki rather sooner than later. But it is Zenny at the front of the field with our teammate in second. So we've got a Ducati 1-2. We've got the Kawasaki in third, which obviously started on pole position with those extra soft tyres. And it's going to be interesting to see really where he can keep up, in this race. Where can he end up and finish? How many points can he get? Surely, it's going to be more of a race looking backwards than forwards for the Japanese bike, but we'll see how it goes for him. We've got the Ducati there right behind him, which is a very fast bike, and ourselves here, we're fighting a Suzuki, unfortunately, the DHL Suzuki. We haven't had an amazing start. This isn't one of my strongest Grand Prix. The Sonoma track is a pretty difficult one for me, especially those opening sectors, the uphill stuff is very difficult, but we can't really use the bike as an excuse, because obviously we're looking at a Ducati in first and second right now. But never mind that, we're trying to fight the Yamaha back here in 6th place currently as we cross the line to end the first lap. The checkered flag right on the braking point, so it's going to be interesting to see if we have any side-by-side action on the last lap, who is going to come on the brakes and who is going to floor it through there. But we've lost the position through the Suzuki up the hill. Like I say, if I struggle through this section, I feel like the bike just doesn't really turn, and these more agile bikes have it a little bit easier as the Suzuki pops a wheelie, which allows us to basically just chuck it back up the inside down the hill. We do run it a little bit wide though, which is going to allow him to come up the inside. He rides the curb quite nicely, and the bike seems to remain pretty stable. I don't think the same thing would have happened to us if we had attempted that same move. But here's Storty getting by on the Kawasaki. I didn't think it would take long, but he has managed to get by then on the run onto the straight into these double rights, sorry. Very good corners to get some overtaking done, especially if you're on a Ducati, which obviously has slightly better brakes, I feel, than some of these other manufacturers, apart from obviously the top line, speed. The top speed of the Ducati is obviously better, but I feel like the brakes are significantly better too, as we get a clear visual representation right there on the Suzuki into this tricky little flip flop chicane thing. It is definitely one where you can find or lose a lot of time depending on your line, and thankfully we managed to get by the Suzuki, and we can focus on trying to get Ryan again on that Yamaha, who's going pretty well. The Yamaha, they have high expectations for this track, because it's one obviously with not a lot of straights and a lot of flip-flop corners, so it's definitely one that plays into their characteristics. So we're going to see obviously where Ryan ends up with that. He's going pretty well right now, so is the Kawasaki here, who is actually getting pressured now by Ryan on that Yamaha. He's wanting to get on with it, and in fact it looks like he's going to pressure that Kawasaki into a mistake and go for the move, but he's popped a massive wheelie there. The electronics on the Yamaha are definitely not the best ones, you could say, and their top line speed is also pretty whack. But coming into this tricky corner, turn 7, this is a very tricky corner. downhill coming in on the brakes, so you can get a lot of bike movement. We have a little bit of bike dancing with that Suzuki as our different lines sort of merge up and we sort of overtake each other just to get re-overtaken. I like to call that bike dancing when that sort of happens, those kind of natural switchbacks. But luckily we don't lose too much time there behind that Suzuki, and we can focus again on trying to catch up to the Razor Racing Yamaha in 5th here, which is trying to pressure up this Kawasaki, which in itself is losing significant time now to that top 3. Zenny still leading the way over our teammate. We got Storty here coming with some good pace. It looks like he's going to get the switch back there. Nice move, like I say, through that little section of corners. Depending on the line you take, you're going to lose or gain a lot of time. But it looks like Storty's run quite deep into the final corner here and lost that position straight away, unfortunately. So big up our teammate, Jens Deloff in 2nd place, carrying the team name right now, Mark VDS branding, which would be familiar to livery to some people from, old days Moto 2. With the likes of Tito Rabat, Reddin also on this kind of bike, Calio on the silver Mark VDS. But yeah, definitely a bit of a retro one as we're getting the bike all over the place here, as we're trying to just close this gap now to this Yamaha, because we very much want to progress forward with the other Ducatis. We can see them now starting to just pull their legs a little bit, and unfortunately we are just not able to sort of continue that momentum and really go with them. It looks like they may be running a different setup or something than what we are doing, because these corners, they are just not cornering for us. We're getting a lot of bike movement compared to some of these other Ducatis. But here we go then, turn 8, like I said earlier on in the video. Good corner for overtaking, good corner to close the time, but unfortunately for us, we did mount the curve as we was trying to line up a sort of not a switchback move, obviously, as our teammate looks like he's going for the lead here into that chicane. Is he going to go for it? Looks like he's forced Zenny out pretty wide there. Where is Zenny? Zenny might even lose the position to Storty here with the different lines, and he is going to be the case. There we go, from 1st to 3rd in a matter of corners for the defending world champion, as we're sending it up the inside of Ryan. Are we going to get this move done? We've been behind it for a while now, and he's got back up the inside, unfortunately, and it's going to be a drag race down this very mini straight. But unfortunately we are on the outside, and there's going to be absolutely nothing we can do about that. Although the climb up the hill, we're going to try and see if we can just squirt on the power and get the Ducati by. But that agility of the Yamaha is going to keep him ahead, and unfortunately we're going to have to just sort of sit here again. We've got halfway through this race now, and we're still behind a Yamaha and a Kawasaki, obviously, just there in 4th, which is definitely not what the bosses back in the Bologna factory would have probably been expecting. And we've got a Suzuki right behind us too, as we have a massive moment on the brakes into turn 7. Rungs us out pretty wide. Ryan has a moment himself too, which went out pretty wide, as we do a little bit more of that little bit of bike dancing there with the Suzuki of Wells, Liam Wells, the Jamaican, going pretty well on the Suzuki, considering the other one. Which same could be said, to be fair, for all these Japanese bikes currently. We've got obviously the Kawasaki in 4th, Ryan in 5th, and Liam in 7th, but their teammates unfortunately are struggling a little bit more. But back at the front, we've got our teammate seems to be pulling out a couple bike lengths here over the other two Ducatis. Zenny has managed to regain 2nd place there over his teammate Storty. Kawasaki obviously in 4th. Ryan 5th here on the Razor Yamaha team, the satellite Yamaha team, looking to sort of become the main factory ourselves, following with the Mark VDS Ducati. Suzuki looks like he's coming under pressure a little bit from behind. So we've got the BMW. Oh, never mind. We've had a BMW go flying off. Looks like he might have actually made collision with the pit wall there. I think we did see Ryan make a little bit of contact with the pit wall earlier on, as we're almost riding into the back of him here. Maybe struggling now as we get to that mid point in the race with the tire wear and tire temperatures and things. Maybe the Yamaha is starting to struggle a little bit, as we've closed the gap in a sector where, to be honest, you would have thought we would lose if anything. But back at the front then, we've got our teammate. He's still got the pressure from the two red bikes. Zenny has closed that gap up a little bit, especially down into there. Look at that. He's gained significant amount on the brakes there as the Suzuki comes flying up the inside. And we are once again going to do a little bit of dancing with her, although this time wasn't quite as easy to get the move done, and we make a little bit of contact there. That could have been a disaster, front wheel to back wheel on the straight, but luckily everything has resumed natural ways, and we can continue again to try and get by this Yamaha, which we are still behind lap 6 out of 10 into this Grand Prix. This is definitely not the way I thought this was going to pan out for us, being stuck behind a Yamaha. But we are going, oh, look at this, we've gone for it in the middle of the corner, a little bit of a surprise attack, a little bit argy-bargy, but to be fair, at this point in the Grand Prix, I was very much losing my patience behind this Yamaha bike. Yeah, it was a hard bike to try overtake, and we did just send it up the inside. Like I say, a little bit argy-bargy there, up the inside of Ryan, but it was something that needed to be done, as our teammate has a little bit of a moment there on the front end. Look at this, bopping all over the place, so possibly, maybe the front tire might be cooked here on our teammate's bike, because that is not looking like the most stable front end in the world, and compared to, you know, this red bike here, which is popping wheelies and stuff. But they are closing the gap back up now to Jens Deloff, so we could be in for an interesting finale at the back there. The Kawasaki's going really well. I was surprised that he's managed to, you know, keep this sort of pace, to be honest, you know, with the Ducatis and the likes of the Yamaha. The BMW has been rather disappointing in this Grand Prix. We got a shot here of the BMW as he chases the Honda, which is fighting the Suzuki. But here's the other Razor Racing bike of Aaron Lilly. Not having the most amazing Grand Prix in the world. You know, people had a little bit more expectation on him, possibly, but it wasn't to be. And as we can see, the Honda there has, I think, managed to get by Liam Wells to slot himself up into 7th. As we got it all kicking off at the front here. A little bit of contact there with Zenny running up behind our teammate, and he looks like he's going to lose that place now to his teammate, sliding up the inside, getting all over the place here. The bike is definitely, you know, one that moves on the brakes, this Ducati bike, and we're going to try focus on catching up to Jojo here, who sort of cut the corner and does some weird lines there, and that move was so much easier to do compared to the Yamaha, although we have lost it straight away with the different line. We sort of had to run into turn 2. We've lent it a little bit early there through that corner, turn 3. Luckily though, it doesn't seem like we've picked up any form of time penalty or anything like this. But you would have noticed throughout this episode, the AI, they do sort of just cut. Oh, we've got Ryan having a massive moment here on the bike. What has happened there with the Yamaha? He's managed to remount on the bike, but what has happened there? It looked like the front wheel slightly come off the ground, and as it come, you know, back down, it just flicked him off the bike, which is rather unfortunate. He was going really well in the Grand Prix. It took us more than half the Grand Prix to even be able to overtake him, which was pretty ridiculous. But unfortunate situation there for the Razor Racing Yamaha, as he delivers the team a belly pan full of dust, which is definitely not what they were expecting in this Grand Prix. Like I say, high expectations from Yamaha for this specific track, but unfortunately he is out of the Grand Prix. Well, not out, he is back on the bike, but obviously out of any sort of significant points, as we got the Ducatis fighting each other here, and this is good for us as a team. You know, if these can just keep fighting each other, it's obviously going to allow our teammate here to just try pull a couple bike lengths and just try to escape a little bit in this Grand Prix, and when, you know, start high for Mark VDS in this universe with a win, which would be a great thing to do. Obviously, we are the satellite team, the B team, the sister team, whatever you want to call it, to this team. So if we could get the first win of the season rather than them, you know, that would be a good message to send. But unfortunately, like I say, we're just struggling throughout this Grand Prix. We can't really continue or maintain the pace that they are doing, as we have a massive moment here over turn 7. How are we still on this machine? What a moment right there, as we flick over to chuck it into turn 7. The rear end just let go completely and somehow managed to regain grip. But you see in the top left graphic there, we got Alexis Grigger in 6th on the BMW, and the BMW has been a bike which just seems to have just not connected at all around Sonoma. Maybe it is the nighttime conditions, maybe it's the track, but for whatever reason, the BMW has been absolutely nowhere in this Grand Prix, and not a team that we've seen really much on the in the cameras, and not really a team worth talking about, unfortunately. For whatever reason, they are struggling here tonight. But there's going to be Jens Zaloff that comes out the last corner to start the last lap then in the race lead, and he's got what looks like a pretty safe little bit margin here over Zenny, although you can never speak too soon in this universe. Storti is in third, so it looks like it is going to be a Ducati podium lockout, barring any sort of shenanigans at the end here. But we are going to be focusing on the Kawasaki, which is having a massive moment and another massive moment on the change of directions here, and a big wheelie, so he's pushing significantly hard, you can see, to try and keep that fourth place, and he's getting the bike all over the place here. So this is going to be interesting if we can try and take advantage of this. We know we've got a little bit more horsepower down this straight, but unfortunately we are a little bit far back, as Zenny looks like he's going to try challenge here for the race win. Has he got the move done? He has, but he is on the outside though, as our teammate just needs to let go of the brakes, makes a little bit of contact, forces him out wide. Zenny gets the switch back, he takes the lead back. Oh, this is getting a little bit close at the front here now, as Zenny has a massive moment on the curves, wobbles all over the place. He's going to lose the position again to our teammate, possibly even to Storti, as we go back on board with us, and we've not really sort of caught up all that much to the Kawasaki, unfortunately. But back at the front, Jens Zaloff has the lead coming into the last corner. Zenny is in second, Storti is in third, somehow hasn't managed to get by his teammate there after that massive moment on the curbs, and we send it up the inside of the Kawasaki and force him out. Are we going to get him? It's going to be a drag race to the line, but we are going to get him for the sole reason that we didn't brake for turn 1. Right, here's the race results then. Jens Zaloff takes the race win, the first race of the season here in Sonoma Raceway, over Vinicius Zenny, Nicolas Storti, rounding out the podium, double podium for Scuderia HB Ducati. Ourselves, we come in fourth because we didn't brake for turn 1, and we just about managed to pip the Monster Energy Kawasaki there of Jojo. Alexis manages to get 6th for BMW, so they do manage to get some sort of decent points out of this first Grand Prix, but unfortunately for them, with their qualifying and lack of race pace, they didn't really, progress forward and fight the Ducatis, which was their goal. Liam Wells comes in 7th for the Suzuki, Shimoda Shady 8th on the Honda. Ryan manages to come 9th, with Rene Barbier rounding out the top 10 and the points in 10th. So we got 2 Yamahas in the points. To be fair, Ryan has had a pretty good Grand Prix all in all, considering he did crash and he's managed to remount and obviously still be the top Yamaha bike. So all in all, that was a pretty good race weekend there from the Yamahas, and Japanese manufacturers in general going pretty well here at Sonoma. But here is the championship standings then, obviously exactly the same as the race results. We are running Formula 1 styled points, so that is obviously the top 10, as you can see: 25, 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. So that is going to be the format that we're going to be running for this World Championship. And here is the Team World Championship, a new thing that we're going to be implementing in this series. Mark VDS lead the way by 4 points over Scuderia HB Ducati. Monster Energy in third with the Kawasaki. Aiko BMW 4th. Suzuki, Honda, Razor Racing, Yamaha, Leopard, and Red Bull KTM, which unfortunately had a bit of a merit in Sonoma. Not a team that made an appearance whatsoever. And in terms of the manufacturer's standings, shock surprise to probably absolutely nobody, Ducati leads the way over Kawasaki, BMW, Suzuki, Honda, Yamaha, Aprilia, and KTM, rounding out the 8th manufacturers that we have for this series. So yeah guys, that is it for the episode 1. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe for more content as always, and I'll see you with a brand new video very soon.